Hi, I wrote a blog back in February and I called it Social Anxiety on Social Media. And I wrote it because I was frustrated at the anxiety advice I'd read. I'd got half a dozen books out the library on anxiety and read them all. I've always suffered from anxiety and I'm always looking for new ways of managing it. So I got these books and each book had a chapter in it on social media, and the advice in each book was don't use social media. I just was so frustrated. I took the books back to the library and I looked at the books at Anger and they were all taken out permanently, which I'm not surprised because I live in quite a busy, angry area of London. It's very exciting, but yeah, people have a lot of passion where I live, let's put it that way. So it just got me thinking that people blame technology for everything. It just irritates me no end. It's just a bit lazy and irritating. I read the Sherry Turkle book, Alone Together, and I wrote some blogs about that like at least 3-4 years ago. Is social media changing us? She said it was for the worst and we no longer have proper conversations. And I just think the emphasis is all wrong. I think, yes, I suffer from anxiety, but I did long before social media was invented. And yes, perhaps people do escape into their phones for good reason. I mean, if you go look at a YouTube video on hamsters or whatever, it changes your brain chemistry and makes you feel better. That's got to change us for the better. And then the people that you have conversations with, I just think it boils down into two types of people. There are people who are emotionally available and give you what you want or you need, or just are there for you. Not even there for you, they're just like they don't phone it in, they're listening. And it's not because of technology. They just would phone it in anyway, even if you were, if social media and technology didn't exist, even if they didn't have a mobile phone to stare into. Some people just cannot. Some people are just not emotionally available, and some people are. And I think with social media and with phones and technologies, the only thing that's the danger is that you spend too much time online as opposed to with the people that you know will satisfy your needs. Because when you go up to someone and you make yourself available to them emotionally and you're a little bit vulnerable or whatever, and they just cannot reciprocate, it is damaging, which is quite different from saying technology damages us. It's when we have our expectations not met, when we are let down by other people. And unfortunately in life, that's how it is. Some people will be there for you and some people won't, in the same way that we'll be there for people and sometimes we won't because we cannot. But when we are trying to build relationships with people who are emotionally unavailable all the time, be that online or offline, that's when we are going places that we don't want to go to, and it's nothing to do with the technology. Sherry Turkle's now started a company about face-to-face communication, and I'm all for that. But you can't force people to behave differently to how they behave. People will behave how they behave and how they always have. I've spent a lot of time in the past few years, sadly, around hospitals, and I've seen the worst behaviour ever because people are upset. And how can you expect people to behave well when they're stressed and upset and anxious? And you could go, oh, well, technology's adding to that. But no, it's not. Technology is just reflecting how we behave anyway. It just gives us more opportunity and more ways of doing it. I wrote a blog recently about comfort and how someone comforted me, and the gift that they gave me, which broke my heart all at once, is they used to be emotionally available. We chimed, we resonated, we had a little fun vibe going on, and then they shut down. And if we speak now, they phone it in. Just there's no emotional resonance. So they kind of send round robin emails to me, and you kind of go, why bother? Why bother? I can tell the difference. I'm quite smart. And you kind of go yeah, why bother? You kind of want to write an email going, why bother? why are you bothering to contact me if you can't be bothered to speak to me properly, like I'm a proper person with proper feelings? And that's on them. But it does kind of hurt your heart, because you just think, when did I stop being so important? And I think, I say this on every single blog I ever write, we all want to be seen, we all want to be heard, we all want to feel like we matter. And if we don't, that's when we get anxious. We think we're not doing it right, or we've offended someone, or whatever. And we get into that tailspin of, oh, what did I say? Perhaps I shouldn't have said that. Perhaps I should have done that. Perhaps I should. And I hate that about myself. I am basically a people pleaser. So I'll always do more, be more, try harder. And you kind of go, oh, enough. And it doesn't matter whether you do this in a relationship online or offline. Because I do think, with technology being an extension of us, I really prefer to think of technology as a way that is like a placeholder, so that you can have a quick chat until you meet them the next time. I think that's, for me, my preferred mode of communication. And to that end, I've just kind of stopped on Twitter because I found I was putting in too much time and effort with strangers who never reciprocated, because I'm not on their list of priorities of people whose emotions I need to manage or need to be managed. I am unimportant, and I don't count. And that's painful, when you constantly spend your time around people for whom you don't count, you're unimportant. And if you disappeared tomorrow, like I have done on Twitter, no one's noticed. Dun dun dun. It's like the Twilight Zone, like that episode of the Twilight Zone where that woman gets out of bed and she goes, oh, where's the cat gone? And then the next day everybody goes, no, there was no cat. And then the next day she goes, where's the dog gone? And everybody goes, we've never had a dog. It's a bit like that. And I think social media can be like that if you've not connected to the right people. Because I know loads of people on social media who've gone, oh, I've got the best friends and I love talking on here and it's so great. But in actual fact, what you do, when you get out of bed in the morning and you set your intention by what other people are talking about on their phones, that can be overwhelming and exhausting. In times gone by, it was the media who did that. The media, like the BBC, would set the intention for the day by telling you where to put your attention on this story or that story. And they never chose the stories based on what's good for society. They chose them on the best circulation for their newspaper outlet or for their news channel or whatever. And so we have been trained for a very long time to be anxious. We totally have. Fear and the information that we share online, fear is the best motivator of all, followed by surprise. We want to be surprised. It's no wonder we're anxious. Lately, I've been focusing on ways not to be anxious. So I've been doing ecstatic breath work. And the theory behind it is that we have this vagus nerve and you're born with it. And depending on your childhood, it was either turned up or turned down. If it's turned down, you're going to be prone to anxiety and stuff. And with ecstatic breath work, what you do is like meditation, but with heavy breathing. And I find it really good. It kind of releases tension in your body because I carry a lot about, and also I've got all this. I had radiotherapy a few years ago, and so that kind of sits in your body. So I've been feeling a little bit of releasing tension, which is kind of cool. But it's a little bit intense, and then I keep having peculiar outbursts of emotion, which apparently is releasing the tension, but I find that hard to believe. But I believe I'll do anything to feel better, because ultimately at the end of the day, we use technology to feel better. We connect to other people to feel better, to feel loved, to feel like we matter, to feel that we're not alone. Alain Robert, he is a therapist and he has a fantastic YouTube channel, and he talks about existential loneliness. And I just think, like Sherry Turkle talked about her book about Alone Together, going, oh, technology makes us alone, but together. But we're always like that. And that's what Alain Robert has really hit on the head. We're always lonely. And what people will do, they'll go online to stop feeling that way, or they'll watch a YouTube video, or they will find a new person to have a relationship with if a relationship breaks down, because they just can't stand feeling alone. And even if you go to a rock concert, you get there and you're having this shared experience, but you're still alone. Because there are very few activities where you're actually physically interacting with other people, so you're just alone. I mean, and Alan Roberge is brilliant because he goes, just get used to the idea that you're alone and you're in pain and you've got existential loneliness and it makes you anxious, and can you just sit with the pain until you feel better? And you can. Apparently we have like 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day, and often they trigger emotions, the same emotions, which is why the ecstatic breath work is to train your vagus nerve up to a new default of just like feeling okay and not anxious, which I haven't got to yet, but I am totally hopeful. And so you have all these emotions, but when you have really strong emotions, apparently they last 90 seconds. 90 seconds. So can you sit with pain for 90 seconds? Yes, of course you can. I remember when my dad died, I didn't get it so much with my mum. I just kind of shut down and I was like super numb for about a year at least. But with my dad, it was like a wave of physical pain would hit me for like at least 90 seconds. And then I would like go outside and I'd say to people, oh, I'm sad my dad died, or I'm sad my mum died. And then they'd go on about their own parents. You're like, oh, how thoughtless are you? Like, yeah, just talk about how your mum's still alive and how she gets on your nerves. Why don't you just bang on about how annoying you found your mother when my mother's dead and I'll never see her again? Oh my God. And so I think, what am I trying to say? Technology is an extension of us. I am not surprised that people think they feel anxious on social media because you don't get the cues that you get in real life. But I think also think about next time you're feeling anxious and want to tap in social anxiety about social media, think about what it gives you, and if whatever platform you're on is not filling you up, then as painful as it might be, it's better to detach from that, because they are addictive. And it is a bit like having some sort of relationship with somebody and you don't want it to end even though you hate it. That's a bit like social media. It's a bit like having a relationship with someone shitty and you can't bring yourself to end it. And yet, just withdraw. You just have to withdraw and nurture yourself. And I'm sure there's a blog in here somewhere with some key points, and there was so much more I wanted to say, but I just thought if I ramble on, I'll get to my key points, stick this up on YouTube, and then I come back to it. And I love that about blogging and vlogging is I talk about something for a while, and then I find out what I'm trying to say. And then I feel a little bit more connected to myself, less anxious, and I kind of go, oh, that's what I think. And all's right with the world. In the meantime, look after yourselves, take good care of yourself, and just breathe, yeah? Just keep breathing.